This Christmas, give the gift of podcasts to the ones you love. Or maybe that's just yourself. Just go to headstuffpodcast.com/Xmas and gift a 6-month or 1-year subscription of Headstuff Plus. Imagine their favourite podcast, but no ads, extra content, and even exclusive pre-sale tickets for live events. It's headstuffpodcast.com/Xmas and get them the gift that keeps on giving.
And now a message from McAfee.
Your package couldn't be delivered.
You owe thousands in unpaid tolls!
You want a free gift?
If texts like these sound familiar, McAfee can help. McAfee automatically identifies text and email scams as well as AI-generated audio to help you stay safe. If they're faking it, they're not making it past us. Get award-winning scam detection today. McAfee.com/keepitreal.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
Shite Talk History crystals. We're going to start selling crystals and underwear just in time for Christmas.
Oh yeah, we're
Crystalness.
You missed
Crystal knock.
just before the recording. You all missed something beautiful of Jason Brennan starting off with one position and talking himself into complete opposite position within about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
He was making fun of crystals, saying they were dumb. Before he'd even gotten a breath out, he was like, I'm getting 4. I'm actually, I believe
every colour.
I believe in the power of magic rocks. This is a little, this is an episode that I've had in the books for
The record books
for ages, and I wish I hadn't told you what it was multiple times over the last couple of years, because it's a much funnier story if you just hear it unfold.
Yeah, well, thankfully, like always, I was only barely listening to you anyway.
That's fair.
So,
and the listener, whoever's listening to this, you can listen to this unfold, and hopefully you haven't gained too much from, because it's a balancing act, because I'd have to make the title something catchy so that people listen to it, but not give it away. Because,
that is,
yeah. But hopefully you're listening to this and you're in for...
I've noticed that though with episodes when you go back through the stats of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's going to be Michael Flatley or a very famous person everyone knows the name of, instantly people go, oh, someone I know about already. I'll listen to that episode.
Yes.
Because I already know about it. But then you'll have someone like Humanity Dick Martin, and you go like,
that's really interesting.
Yeah, but you can't.
But there's no one cares. Or like because I did the same with the Dollop. I listen to the ones where I have it in my podcast feed. I've stopped listening weekly a good while ago, but then did a 3-part series in Clinton there recently, or if like JFK or someone like that pops up, you're like, oh, I'll dip in for this, but I don't have any more room in my brain for just
to learn anything
random interesting stories that don't have any impact on culture.
Yeah, I listened to 3 hours of something that I already know about just to at one point go, I didn't know.
Sure, with that, like this is you're beefing out your knowledge on someone you already know and is relevant. Which is this story. This story is about the Guinness Book of Records, right? It's a thing everyone knows, but it's not really about
a good, honest Catholic family.
Yes, it's about the men behind it, and a thing that happened 50 years ago today, I think. But anyway, the story starts 1925, August. Margaret Bunny Williamson gives birth to twins, Ross and Norris McWhirter. Their father, William McWhirter, was the editor of the Sunday Pictorial newspaper, which you might know better as, these days, the Sunday Mirror. Changed his name in 1963.
It's better than Pictorial.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why. I guess it's just because it is pictures.
Also, I feel like I keep thinking you're going to say McWhirter's Originals, but
no,
that's a different thing.
Totally different, spelled differently, completely. It's different people.
Okay.
This is about Ross and Norris McWhirter, all right? 2 good old boys from England.
Old boys love Werther's Originals.
They've got the classic British they go to Trinity College, Oxford. Norris studies law there. They both serve as sub-lieutenants in World War II, put in time for Blighty in the Royal Navy Reserves. I don't know if they see much action themselves, but afterwards they both become sports journalists.
Oh.
Yeah, so they have they love sports trivia. And in general, they love data, and they have a good memory for facts and stuff, and particularly sports trivia. And that was like their party trick in college.
Okay.
They just regurgitate stuff about stats about sports. They also do everything together. They went to the same college, and they both then start a business straight away afterwards.
Okay.
They're twins.
And there's no twist in this story where it turns out that all...
There's a lot of twists in this story.
Okay.
But none so far, I don't think.
Are there any where it turns out that all along it was actually only one guy? A reverse Prestige.
When in 1951, after the war, you know, they've gone through the hardships. I think they're serving in the Mediterranean, and they're like, bloody hell, there's only one life, and it's a short one. We got to get out there and follow our dreams. Let's get into sport journalism. They published something called Get to Your Marks, which is some sort of fact book, I guess. And they set up a fact-finding agency with the aim of supplying facts and figures to newspapers, yearbooks, encyclopedias, and advertisers. So they're big trivia nerds, and they set up a trivia business to give all these other, sports trivia. And through that...
This sounds great. That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If that was the end of the story...
I loved it,
Yeah, two twins who... maybe their dad was involved in the Red Tops. Sure, it's not their fault, but they go off, they see a bit of action in the war, and they come back and they're like, right, let's put ourselves to good use here. Let's supply random sports trivia to the people that need it most.
How
Lads
many
in
caps
pubs.
did Jeff Hurst get?
Exactly, all that sort of stuff. But instead they use their power for evil. No, that's the start of the story. And then enter into, here's where we get Christopher Chataway. Long-distance Olympic runner who ran for Blighty, and then later Conservative politician. It's a trend in this story that pretty much everyone of English background that I mention, they're also a Conservative politician or activist or lobbyist. All right, that's just...
I'll take it as given.
Yeah, take it as given. But he's a runner, Conservative politician, and importantly for this part of the story, he works for Guinness, and he's an executive in Guinness. And the managing director of Guinness at the time was a man called Sir Hugh Eyre Campbell Beaver. And he was interested in expanding the Guinness brand a little bit. I can see you looking puzzled, Jason. You're like, well, I thought Guinness was as Irish as Longford GAA. And then the crack of the schlitter off the ash of a hurl. And Sally O'Brien. And who are all these British elite Tory Conservative politicians that are associated with the drink? And I'd say... Harp, give us a sponsorship.
I'm saying nothing because I want that Harp sponsorship.
Yeah.
But also, I've watched House of Guinness. I knew this anyway.
I know, yeah.
But then also...
it is still funny reading through this and you're like, I haven't seen one Mick or Paddy involved in the organising side of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, they'll slap his face on a barrel. I still can't get over, like, if you do the Guinness tour.
The barrel's the best section, the Cooper section.
The Cooper section.
That's my favourite. That's the video of the guy who's just like sweating.
Yeah.
And he's just like making the barrel. And then as soon as he's done, he just has like 1 second where he goes, and he wipes his brow.
Yeah.
And then he looks over and picks up another barrel and starts going at it again. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What was life?
It was great.
It was just in a 100-degree sauna, just banging away at metal, bursting his eardrums.
He was in great shape. He's hanging out with the lads all the time. Probably as much Guinness as you could drink.
10 pints a day. Yeah.
And by the end of it all,
34.
yeah, he can afford a one-room flat for his 34 children in inner city Dublin, overlooking the Liffey. I love all those videos in the Guinness Storehouse where it's just like, yeah, it's always. Listen, they're all working actors getting a paid gig, but it's always lads just wiping their brow and going, "Oh, Jesus, hello, my name's Stephen O'Connor, and I work at Mr. Guinness is the greatest out employer in all of Dublin's fine city." And it's just all this bigosh and bigara about
I've never seen any of those people.
Where are all the Catholic managers? Well, they're in the next room, my lord. And they just go into a dark room, get beaten up by men from Diageo. But anyway, here we have another high-ranking British man in charge of Guinness at the time in the 50s and 60s. But to be fair, he's got good ideas. He wants to branch out into something that we all know and love, a book of records, possibly from around the globe. But the story of how he comes up with this idea is supposedly he was at a shooting party down in Wexford, in North Slob by the River Slaney.
Okay.
It sounds very posh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on a shooting expedition down there. After missing a shot at a golden plover. He got involved in an argument whether the golden plover or the red grouse was the fastest game bird in Europe. And this is a heated debate, and they couldn't find an answer. And retiring to Castlebridge House, incensed, he went through his encyclopedias and he found it was impossible to confirm which was the fastest. It turns out neither of them are, which is funny. But this is the origins of. He says, if only there was a book full of facts that the common man was interested in to settle debates about which is the fastest game bird that you're shooting on your hunting lodge. Again, it's the drink of the people, or the black stuff,
or who makes
Christmas.
What's after happening here now is that man took a shot at a bird, missed, and then said, well, Joe, that's actually the fastest bird in the world.
No wonder I missed it. It's the bloody fastest game bird in Europe.
I think actually, John, that's the second fastest.
Yeah. There's probably some, wise mouth, red-headed, grubby, red-cheeked Irish kid was like, oh, I don't know, my lord. I don't believe it is the fastest bird. And that kid got accidentally shot in the back of the head. And the kid's family needed to apologise to Sir Beaver for inconveniencing him.
I forgot his name's Beaver.
Yeah. He's from South Africa, I think, originally. But anyway, this is from these humble beginnings come the seed of the idea for the Book of Records. He wants a book that can settle pub debates. And so Chataway, the Olympic runner, he's working for Guinness, and he suggests getting his old mates from college, the McWhirters, in. They know trivia. They've got this trivia business. Perfect fit. So I think they meet in 1954. There's a bit of an interview. They impress Sir Beaver with their trivia knowledge, and the deal's done. So they compile what was known at the time as the Guinness Book of Superlatives and now Records.
Okay, and they shortened it when?
They shortened it a couple of times over the years, because I think they do. It's Guinness Book of Records, and then it becomes like the Guinness World Records or something.
I was going to say this. It used to be a big fixture in Ireland.
Huge.
Now I haven't seen them in years.
No.
But every Christmas you'd get one, and you'd spend you just read it.
Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
Just read the entire thing, and then that's it for the year.
And we'll talk about
Argus
this.
Catalogue.
Yeah, this is a Christmas story in a way, because it's a classic stocking filler. It's what you get for the boys who haven't been diagnosed with autism yet in your life. Here's a book full of facts you can pour yourself over and then annoy all your relatives at Christmas about stuff which is the fastest game bird in Europe, But
it's one for the family. It's a coffee.
It is one for the
book,
family. It varies. It is a good idea. So they make this book, and it's a Guinness promo, and they give it to pubs for free, a couple of hundred pubs, or maybe a couple of tens of pubs across Ireland and England. Put them in the pubs, huge hit.
Yeah.
Lads.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to imagine.
I've seen lads before in Loughlin just sit down and the barman would just ask questions.
Yes.
Just like not in a quiz. Or there's four lads at the bar, old men, and he just says, like, what's the first county in Ireland to have a train system? And the only one now that doesn't. And then lads would think for a minute.
Yeah.
And they'd go, oh, Jesus, I wonder. And then I'd say Donegal, and then he'd look at me and go, you're not meant to fucking... You're not meant to know the answer.
Not meant to know.
This is meant to burn 5 minutes.
Yes.
And everyone goes, oh, Jesus, fair play. And I get to tell them it's Donegal, and then they think I'm smart.
This is a time when lads would be... There's an almanac in there that I got from my granddad years ago that's just like as condensed a book as possible, just full of facts, figures, and dates. And I always got the impression that it was just existed so that you could pull it out in a pub and be like, Richard II. Ha! You owe me a pint. And it's that. So it's a great hit. But it's mostly, now it's kind of sports trivia and stuff. And it goes all across the pubs, and it becomes a regular fixture in like 1955. They've done the trial, and now it's out. Huge hit. And it's like an annual thing that gets updated with different records. And they become famous celebrities of sorts. They're going on to BBC's show The Record Breakers, and basically same as what you're describing. Kids will ask them questions and they just know the answer to stuff, and it's a bit of honest, good old-fashioned fun. Early television. It's two white men that look the same with posh British accents telling you about stuff that happened in the past. It's what the BBC was made for.
Like the chase, or what's the crack with this? Is there a game element to it, or people just go, who scored the most goals for Bolton 10 years ago?
I think genuine. It's like what you described in the pub. It's like, well, it says here that it'd be like children would come on and be like, what's the longest living cat? Who's the fastest knitter? And then they just talk about It's like a podcast. It was just general.
And then Dave Allen would come on and talk for about 2 hours.
Yeah, God bless Dave Allen.
So good.
Yeah. Did you watch that? I sent in that video of.
I didn't watch
from
it.
BHH. Yeah, it was just he used to be the spokesperson for Rose's Sweets, apparently. Yeah, I mean, this is essentially what the McWhirter show would be. Somebody just says something, you'd be like, "Do you know actually Dave Allen used to be the spokesperson for a chocolate brand that doesn't really exist anymore?"
Yeah, they're
fascinating.
They're based in Poland now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And the tins used to be made of metal. Can't do that since the war, you know. Just that sort of stuff. But then we get into the other half. The two boys, Ross, I suppose in particular, we're going to focus on him for the rest of the story. Ross gets involved with and becomes an activist for the conservative parties of England. He's lobbying for restrictions on Irish people in Britain, specifically around, he's kind of pushing for stuff like...
How many should we have in?
Well, the ones that are here, should they have to register with the local police officer? He wants a requirement that you need to give a signed photograph when you're renting a flat or booking a hotel room in England as an Irish person. Stuff like this. Just kind of, I guess, imagine... Oh yeah, this is where we get into the let's tread lightly part of the story. It's not as if nothing's happening in the UK.
I'm kind of like, this isn't that, that's not that bad. I would, honestly.
But imagine anything, like, imagine a British politician now, but say after, like, the IRA and the Grande bombing, or maybe like a couple of years ago, if they're like, every Muslim person.
Every Irish person.
Every Irish person, you're off the list. No one cares about you anymore. Any Muslim person or anyone coming from a Muslim majority country has to register their movements with the cops and provide a signed photograph when they book a hotel room. I don't think that would go down very well.
I don't think it would go down well.
And it didn't go down very well in the 70s when he was talking about the Irish.
I was going to say, it was the 70s
Yeah.
in England, so I think it would have went down a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely couldn't do it now, but back then, I mean, what year is it? 1970 what?
This is during the 60s he's kind of pushing for this stuff, like early 70s.
Say, like, by early 70s, 73 is a pretty big year.
Oh, yeah.
And that if it's around that time, you'd kind of be like, active bombing campaign.
Yeah.
I could see a conservative politician doing pretty well running under the idea of, like,
for
how
sure,
a photo and a signature for every single one of these paddies.
Yeah, and it's always funny to be like, because in my mind, I've always like, is it a direct parallel kind of like to what's happening with, Islamophobia and anti-Muslim rhetoric and stuff nowadays, as the same as what was happening to the Irish back in the 70s. We were doing way worse.
Oh, yeah.
Way. Just reading the facts, like this next bit we're going to get into, like, whoa.
Let's get into it.
Big numbers in a short amount of time.
Concerted campaign.
Oh my God. Yeah, and multiple different fracture groups who were breaking up because the other groups weren't bombing enough. They were like, no, you got to bomb military stuff. It's like, well, what about civilians? They're everywhere and a lot easier to get to. Anyway, so yeah, he's not exactly a friend of the Irish, which is the first kind of unusual thing that the founder of the Guinness Book of Records, not particularly fond of the Irish at all. But
I suppose because they have just put the Guinness name on it as a sponsorship. He's just, they're just boys who love facts.
Yeah, they're just in it for the love of the game. Yeah, they love facts. They're like sort of TV celebrities now about facts, but they're associated with
it could have just as easily been Strongbow's Book of Records, and they probably would have preferred that. John Smith.
Yeah, and again, like the head of Guinness at the time was Sir whatever Beaver, a member of Her Majesty's realm. It's not as if it's a particularly Irish like no. It is an Irish drink, but the upper elites.
We just don't think about it like
no.
Yeah.
Anyway, heading into late 60s, he's kind of now pushing into his conservative phase. In 1973, another character into the story, a man called John Gurrier, or however you pronounce his name. He was a retired major. He just got out of the army, and like a lot of British men of his ilk, I suppose, he'd had a bloody good time fighting for Her Majesty, and he didn't really know what to do with himself afterwards. And a very similar origin story. One day he found himself at a grouse shooting trip in Speyside with family and friends, and they were discussing the political and economic state of decline in Britain at the time. The country's gone to the dogs, man. And he told the party over lunch that it's no use complaining and then doing nothing about it, and he resolved himself to take up the cudgels and do something.
Okay.
So he contacts a couple of friends. They get together a think tank.
It's a weapon that's gone out of
the cudgel,
out of fashion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same as a mace.
Ironically associated with when we got that into our own hands and went over to the States and started taking out all of this trauma on every other new immigrant into America. like a drunken dad going through a divorce who's not dealing with his emotions correctly. We're taking it out on e-boys now. But yeah, Guria, he puts out the feelers and gets in contact with a couple of other like-minded individuals and gets put in contact with Ross McWhirter. So the two of them they have a similar view for the country of Britain. They want to steady the ship, and they get involved with the Conservative Party. They go to the Conservative Party conference in 1975, basically, and place this pamphlet, broadsheet called The Majority, on every seat. And they start to get more sort of politically active in the Conservative Party and more kind of spokespeople. They're shown on TV, shown on radio, demanding certain things. Because all of this is running concurrent with a PRIA cell lands in England in summer of 1974.
Provisional IRA.
The Provisional IRA. This cell in particular is led by a man called Joseph O'Connell, and they carry out a series of gun and bomb attacks across the city of London. So other members of the gang were Hugh Doherty, Eddie Butler, Harry Duggan, Liam Quinn, and Brendan Dowd. And between them, they were responsible for a range of attacks targeting pubs, clubs, and restaurants across the city. The first one, and maybe the most famous one, is the Guildford bombings, October 1974. So they just land in the country, I think, in August. Straight away, they blow up a pub in Guildford, killing 5 people. 4 of them were off-duty British soldiers, and one of them was a civilian. It injures like 65 or more people. Big attack. And famous attack. Maybe best depicted in The Name of the Father.
Yeah.
So this is where, because of this, the Guildford 4 get wrongfully arrested and convicted. And then later the Maguire 7.
And then there's the Birmingham 6 as well.
Yeah, it's a similar thing.
They were always wrong.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they did catch the right people, but like it's mad how there's so many, it's multiple times that they've caught giant groups of people that had nothing to do with anything.
Oh, yeah. And then, because as we'll see, because they catch these guys shortly after this for something else, but the Guildford 4 stay in prison for a long, long time. Giuseppe Conlon, the
great name.
Great name. Go watch that movie if we haven't recommended it before on this podcast. It's one of my favorites.
For the film club.
It's
too serious.
Too good.
It's too good, and you can't knock crack out of it.
No. We were talking about films filmed in a Kilmainham jail. Maybe we'll just do that. Rank the movies that were filmed in there. But anyway, very, very good. So yeah, the broad strokes are that probably 4 people got lifted initially for the bombing, and they're called the Guildford 4, wrongfully arrested. Paul Michael Hill, Jerry Conlon, Paddy Armstrong, Carol Richardson, and then later when their extended family kind of comes over, they also get lumped up and arrested. They're referred to as the Maguire 7, including Jerry Conlon's dad, Giuseppe Conlon. He dies in prison. And then another bizarre connection, which maybe I've said in the podcast before, but Paul Hill, one of the original Guildford 4, when they finally get out of prison, he goes on to marry Courtney Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s sister.
Yeah, you mentioned this the other month, yeah.
That's mad. That's a bizarre thing. Ain't they got divorced afterwards, but anyway, another bizarre connection. But they have another, that's only the beginning. Between then and November of the next year, so over the space of about 13, 14 months, they carry out attacks all across the city. King's Arms, Woolwich, the Telephone Exchange, Oxford Street, all over the place. London has them. So it's this one sort of gang that they know is responsible for it. And into this steps Ross McWhirter and his friend John Gourier. And Ross believes that it's a citizen's duty to get involved. And he's trying to convince the Home Secretary to put a bounty on this gang's head. And when the Home Secretary says no, Ross does it himself. So apparently this is mostly John.
Can you do that?
Apparently.
An individual's, like your own, suppose you can. Yeah.
I suppose you can. Apparently it's mostly John Gourier's idea, but maybe he doesn't have much money. But Ross goes on TV on the 4th of November and puts a £50,000 bounty on any information that'll lead to a conviction of the gang. So that's around £500,000 today.
Jesus.
A little over £500,000.
In fairness, he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Yes.
I don't like that he's coming after Irish people, but...
Yes. And again, you know, it's
And he's not hiding in the weeds. He's out there openly.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like the Irish. They're
Yeah,
rats.
yeah. And there's a lot of other stuff we can get into in the end, but like also sort of pro-apartheid, anti-gay, anti-immigrant. The two, we'll get into it at the end, but yeah, the two boys, they've got a big record on this sort of stuff. But there's no heroes in this story. I do want to say that it's not good that the IRA were going around and blowing up civilians at the time. So there, like, he is.
Put that on record.
Yeah, yeah.
That's there
Put that
now.
on record. And this has been.
Clip that.
This has been a long year. I'd read one statistic that there was a attack, either successful or unsuccessful, but they were uncovering an attack every 3 days during that year. So it's high, intensity. And obviously over in Ireland, like, stuff is also rampant. Like, this is really you've already gone past like Bloody Sunday. This is like the height of the troubles at home. So it's a very intense time between the two islands. But into this, McWhirter is coming out and putting his money where his mouth is. Yeah, 50k bounty, leading to the conviction of any of these men, which the IRA, or the provisional IRA, or at least the cell, reckons that makes him a legitimate target.
That's fair.
Or at least as legitimate as a pub where some soldiers might be sitting one day. Yes. So I think also during this, I think it's during the same press conference or around about the same time anyway, he's pushing for the death penalty. He's pushing for this terrorism to be classified as treason, which is very funny because he's explicitly being like, because they're British citizens. So he wants it to be classified as treason, and bring the death penalty in for that. So he wants them arrested and executed. Yeah. But it's with the caveat of, like, because at the end of the day, they're good British men and they should be shot for going against Queen and country. So that makes him not too popular with this group of the PIRA.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's not double jeopardy, but it is. You're getting punished twice here.
Yeah,
not only for the crime, but then secondly as a double down.
Yeah,
it's you're going to, but be proof that you're British.
You're being tried for treason.
Yeah, this isn't
against
just
your sovereign and monarch, your beloved queen. Yeah, which is a very good. This is the first time Stuart Lee will get mentioned in this episode out of 2, but I can't remember what special that's from, where he gets everyone to give a round of applause for the IRA. I was like, they always phoned ahead, didn't they? Because at the end of the day, as much as they disagreed with it, they were good British men. They had manners, didn't they? But, so Ross puts a bounty on these people's heads that's around about the 4th of November. So the start of November 1975. The 27th of November, so a couple of weeks later, he is on his way to the theatre. There's a interesting interview with his wife where she retells the story. But basically, they are attacked by this group. They come up to the house. Ross opens the door and is shot at point blank range. Killed on the 27th of November. Shot dead, yes. By Harry Duggan and Hugh Doherty of this gang.
As I got out of the car, somebody came from the other side of the car, and the other one said to me, hand over the keys. And I sort of thought, strange thing, I nearly chucked them in the garden. And then as he was pointing a gun at me, I thought, well, perhaps I better hand the keys to him. And that left me without keys to get into the house. So I rang the front doorbell and thinking, oh, Ross must come and deal with these people. Not thinking who they were. He came to the door and I sort of said, oh, do something about this. And I sort of rushed past him, and at that moment they shot him.
But there's something interesting about, like, how
the stiff upper lip
of delivering, talking about a horrific, traumatic event. And judging by how old she looks in that,
I
don't
thought
know what
when they had the gun pointed at my face, I'd better give him the keys.
Yeah, and I was going to chuck it in the garden, but I thought, well, maybe better not.
Seeing as the fact that he has a gun in my face, maybe I should. I thought about it. I wouldn't be thinking. I'd be shitting myself. But
100%. Yeah, and it was like, and then I didn't even piece it together. But of course, my husband did. He put a bounty out on the IRA only days previous, and in retrospect, I feel rather foolish. But
I see what this is. You're the Ra.
It's the IRA. Yes, the provisional. And it's not all tea and crumpets, I suppose, some days, but one must go on. So the story breaks into 2 threads from here. A couple of weeks after that, the police track down the gang. on the 6th of December, so a couple of days afterwards, they are staking out one of the places that they'd bombed before. So they detected a pattern that they would come back sometimes to the places they'd already attacked and attack them again, which is...
Double down.
Yeah.
Least expecting it.
Exactly.
Return to the scene of the crime, to do the crime again.
Do a different, the same crime again. I've definitely used that logic to be like, if you're going somewhere and then something terrible happens there, and you're like, well, it's hardly going to happen again. You know, it's the safest time to go there in many ways. Well, not like terrorist attacks where you're like, oh, it'll be cheap.
Terrorist earthquakes. Nature's terrorism.
Yeah, well, they do strike twice. They'd thrown a bomb in the window a couple of weeks previous, and now they're coming back to fire off shots in the window. But the Met had realized this pattern, or they'd seen this pattern. They also figured that the lads didn't operate on the weekend or on days that it rained, which is funny.
But you'd think that's very funny.
Yeah.
So, like Irish builders working 6.5 days a week in London.
Yeah.
That the Irish terrorists are like...
Just lads about to go out and like bomb a pub. Like, oh, feels like rain. Come on now.
Come on. What are you going to do? Bomb somewhere on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
When people are... it's been a long week.
It's been a long
Can they not
week.
have something?
Yeah. So...
Monday morning, Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Actually, better time.
At least some people get the day off work.
Mondays are tough enough as it is. You don't be bombing people on their first day back to work after a weekend.
Mondays, bloody Mondays. But so they're staking out some of the old previous spots, and sure enough, the lads come up again to attack. I think this time it was Scott's Restaurant on Mount Street in Mayfair. So they're firing off shots in that. Cops come out. There's a chase. The chase leads them back to Balcombe Street, which is where the gang had been held up. So this is the start of the siege, or the Balcombe Street siege. And this is where they get their name as well. They're referred to as the Balcombe Street Gang. But they're locked up there for... The siege goes on for about 6 days, right? They're surrounded by the cops. They demand a plane to fly them to Ireland, which is...
Giving up the... Now they definitely know who it is.
Yeah, we want a plane to fly us to Afghanistan.
To Franco's Spain. I want a time machine plane.
Well, I mean, So they take some hostages and they're using that to try and negotiate during this standoff. But the situation ends after 6 days. The whole thing is like being televised. It's 6 days. They're kind of, like, these guys have been terrorizing London for about a year and a bit at this stage. And obviously the news cycle as it's going on is pinning all the stuff that's happened, all the bombings on these guys. And they've just shot Ross. Everyone.
Oh
knows.
yeah, that's right.
He's basically the Blue Peter.
And this is just one group of lads. It's not
the
all the IRA.
No, and and as the days are going on, they're like, they know they've pinned some stuff to them, but they
and you remember the boys who killed your granddad back?
Yeah. This is them.
40 years ago. Same guys.
Same
it's his
fella.
son.
Yeah, the same lads who came around and promised your nan a Tara McTadam job, did a shoddy work and then pissed off. This was them. It was them and their cousins. So tensions are high, and they've just shot Ross, who is again like he's essentially like a Blue Peter presenter at the time, and they eventually get them in. So there's one line from one of the guys in the gang who said of McWhirter, that man McWhirter thought he lived in Texas. He put a bounty on our heads. He asked for it. So in their mind, he was
his version of Blue Peter, just like, well, back when I was growing up, it was White Peter.
Yep.
Britannia was formed on the basis of a White Peter.
So there's 4 arrested that day, and they are found guilty in the Old Bailey. There's a trial in 1977. They were found guilty of 7 murders and, a load of the explosions, falsely imprisoning the people they'd taken under siege, and they get multiple life sentences back to back. And then this is where, like, during the trial, they tell, I think this scene is in The Name of the Father, they tell their lawyers that they also did the Guildford bombing. And that the
just
people in prison.
Yeah.
Not just to get them out, because they had done it. So they're like, those lads are being wrongfully imprisoned. We did that, get the boys out, and they remained in prison for another 15 years after that.
Yeah.
But to be fair,
now I would say
can't necessarily trust them.
Yeah. That you can.
Well, I suppose you could, like, there'd be forensics.
But you'd assume that would be part of, like, I would tell someone that. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, if you get caught for anything red-handed, own up
and you're
to
going down,
a load of things, because you're going
For
down
sure.
anyway forever.
Well, if it doesn't, in The Wire, Weebay just takes a load of murders.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes no difference. If you're not getting the death penalty, you may as well take responsibility for all this stuff. But they could have, like, there's a pattern as to how this gang is operating. and presumably the type of explosives, or you could tie it together.
Yeah, if you
or what you could say is, well, we've already very publicly locked up all those people. It's better to leave it be. Yeah. We don't want to. Everyone's quite annoyed at the minute. Tensions are high. We don't want to release these other people. Let's just lock everyone up. And remember, like Ross's plan.
Also, remember that what you've done there is wrongfully interned a chunk of Irish people.
Yeah.
Innocent Irish people.
Yeah.
Can't let them out.
No.
They're likely to join the RA.
Yeah.
They've been locked up with a load of RA men for years now. And they have a bone to pick.
Well, I think at this point it might have only been a year. Or they might have they've just gone in. It couldn't have been that long. But this is the start of their long sentence. But yeah, if Ross's plan had come to fruition, and we had every Irish citizen living in Britain had to report to the police office every week and sign on, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and that idea, how often did he want it to?
I don't know.
Because it's not.
Maybe it's like a football hooligan thing where you're banned.
That's what I was thinking.
You have to go every time there's a match.
But it's just a match.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then that's a specific scheduled event. So you're like, hey, when that game's on, you better come here. You can't be like, you're Irish in London.
Yeah.
24/7, you need to be at the prison.
No.
Just in case anything outside happens.
Yeah, you may as well just stay in here.
You can prove that. Yeah.
I don't know. You maybe sign on, I don't know, once a week.
Stop saying sign on just because they're Irish lads.
Well, that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
He said, they're probably going down to the Dole office anyway. May as well make a double job. Sign this thing as well. What harm? But anyway, with that sort of mentality, we'll leave the IRA boys for a while and we'll go back to the other trade. With that sort of mentality, Ross's brother Norris, he was, I think it seemed from what I was reading, maybe Ross was more conservative or more kind of outwardly spoken right-wing activist at the time. He was more trying to get involved with the Conservative Party, and he was more with the sort of anti-Irish rhetoric. He was the one who put the money forward. Norris would have shared his views. He wouldn't have necessarily been as outspoken about it, maybe, but he wouldn't have had an awful lot of time for the Irish. And when we shot his twin brother, that didn't soften him up on the whole thing.
I'd say now he
doubles down.
It's not all Irish.
It's not all Irish.
Just the ones that shot my brother.
Yes. Well, he about a week after his brother gets shot, and they're not only brothers, they're twins. And as we've gone through the story, like they go to their college together, they start off a business together. They were serving in World War II together. I don't know if they're stationed on the same ship, but like they are doing everything together. They're appearing on television together. The whole thing, it's in step with each other. And now his brother's been assassinated by the IRA. So he doesn't take it particularly well.
More money for him.
Well, they were a double act.
Yeah, you're getting twice as much, half of
twice
as much.
He was in charge of all the admin.
Yeah.
But about a week after he gets shot, on the 2nd of December 1975, Norris sets up, in conjunction with a couple of other people, the National Association for Freedom.
NAF.
NAF. It's the NAF. But all groups that have freedom in their name. Surprisingly, Harold Walker, the Minister of State for Employment, he described it as an ultra-right-wing political organisation which sought to interfere in industrial disputes with harmful consequences. And David Baddiel, the comedian, he described them as a slightly posher version of the BNP. So somewhere in there, they seem to be very anti-union, very anti-Soviet. They didn't like the Ruskies.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the name from NAF after National Association for Freedom. They changed it to the Freedom Association, TIFA, which is a little better.
FA. It turns out a lot of English football fans actually agree with their beliefs.
I'm just looking through the list of their campaigns. It's mostly anti-trade union, anti-apartheid, or they're pro-apartheid in South Africa. They were anti-national identity cards, obviously backed Brexit. They were pro-Brexit. Also, vaping. They launched the Freedom to Vape campaign in 2016, that was ahead of the curve, I guess. In 2016, they were like, you should be able to vape.
So it was like, right, communism, bad.
Yeah, anti-trade unions,
Irish trade unions, bad.
Trade unions they're just festering. It's a meeting ground for Bolsheviks. Apartheid era South Africa, let them go. It's our place to say how the country's run. Let them do what they're doing.
But when they tried to take HHC away from teenagers, that's when I decided.
Yeah, in 2016 is an odd one. That feels like
that's ahead of the curve.
That is ahead of the curve.
That sounds like someone's got shares in a vaping company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't put that at their doorstep. I don't think that they're sullied by money. But this is when they get founded. So he's a founding member of this. And their main starting off block seems to be very anti-trade union. And apparently they meet privately with Thatcher to warn her about the looming threat of Bolshevism. So now we're getting into, I mean, I don't know how much truth there is to any of this, but
Let's say it regardless.
I suppose in 1980, before that, the Freedom Association, they apparently would target, because the Olympics that year is in Moscow. And where's Moscow? Right in the heart of Soviet Russia. So these boys are like, don't take part in there.
Why, it's the same latitude as Ireland. It's Dublin.
The two old enemies. But apparently they would try and cajole athletes into not attending, and apparently went as far as to give them medals for boycotting the games. To get a medal for being a good British man or woman.
For not going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is funny, there's also the generation that
would give out medals for
give
not,
a bloody medal for everything. Yeah, here's a medal for not going to the Olympics. So in 1981, a former counter-terrorism operative, Gordon Winter of the South African Bureau, he said that he wrote in his book, I guess, that he had some meeting with a London-based handler who warned him to be very wary of Ross McWhirter. He claimed that he was a British intelligence operative. So there's so this is Ross, not Norris, but this is in the 80s. He published his book. It was like Ross was an asset.
But they think maybe Ross was an asset and that's why he got shot. But
no, but that again, similar to like,
it was just a happy coincidence.
I was reading about the.
But how happy would you be if you were the IRA and you were like, we shot this guy to came out there? You're just like,
he's not necessarily a spy. And to be honest, I don't know much about this. I just like saying things like, I think they believed he was an asset. He was a man on the inside. But like, it sounds like the general as well, where there was a soft surveillance on his house after he made the statement, after he offered 50 grand in the IRA's head. Someone in the police force thought, better keep an eye on this situation. But he shot in his house. Like they just walk up to his door and there's no kidnap situation or anything. He opens the door, the wife opens the door, and they shoot him. So if the guards or if the cops were in any way wary, and it's only 3 weeks after he makes the statement. So I don't know where they watched them at all.
You'd have to be.
Yeah, but then how did this happen?
Yeah, but you'd have to.
You'd have to be
100%.
But then how could you have two IRA men just walking up to the front door and shooting them point blank?
Because they were that damn good at their job.
Yeah, maybe. Or was it a double asset situation on the inside? Who knows? But you can also imagine the MI5 being interested in a high profile-ish celebrity man who has a good head for numbers. As a TV,
not for long,
as a TV appearance, and seems very rapidly pro Britain. I guess he, anti EU, anti Irish, anti immigration. You could use a man like that.
So you think that they let him get shot?
No, I mean I know I'm presenting the information.
No, I'm not allowed to say that legally. Yeah. That's not what I would.
I think there's no, I don't think so. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense. If they're like, if he makes this statement. And the group he's talking about are like, they're running around trying to cause as much terror as possible. So they'd obviously, this would be
he's put a bounty on their head.
He's put a bounty on their head. It would be, he's a prime target. Or certainly like enough to put a couple of cops on him. And then for them to be, and it's not like,
he's also rich, he can afford his own security.
Yeah, he could do. And he also knew it was coming, I'd imagine. But
so he's answering his own front door.
Exactly.
That's
the whole thing.
There's someone to do that for you if you're that rich and racist.
Yeah. But then so his brother carries the torch on. Who knows if he was an asset? Let's just say yes.
But if he was, because then that's if he was working for MI5.
But like, you're not working for, but you're like you're giving them information. They give you some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You do a little bit of.
If someone was doing that and helping you, then surely you wouldn't leave him unattended to be shot by the men who are clearly going to target him now.
Well, what about Steak Knife? That's exactly what they did.
Well, that's true. Well,
who knows what the MI5 were up to back then? They were like paying 5D. Maybe they all just made a mistake and someone was like, brilliant.
MI5D chess.
MI5D chess. They're just letting, counter operatives, just letting people be shot. Move the whole board forward a little bit. Who knows what the hell they're at? But there's some claims that he was an asset. But Back to Norris then. They just keep going through. He doesn't die until about 2004, but he keeps a good fight coming. In 93, he attempted to have the Foreign Secretary at the time, Douglas Hurd, charged with treason for signing the Maastricht Treaty. The very
Treason's a great
yeah. But just to try and for like strengthening ties with Europe is like, hang that man for treason. I remember the last time we trusted the French and it ended with the Battle of Hastings. This is a fucking disgrace. He should be strung up and shot. So after that, he tried to sue. I think he tried to sue Spitting Image for using a picture of him at some point. But he also tried to sue in 1998 the BBC for broadcasting Nelson Mandela's 70th birthday concert because he said it would be anti-apartheid propaganda.
This was in
1988.
88, yeah.
You can't put Nelson Mandela on the TV. Put him behind bars.
Sad. Sometimes your heroes live long enough to become villains. 88.
Yeah.
And he'd been kind of out of the game a little bit by that stage.
Oh, no. Those are just the highlights. He's constantly...
Because I would have thought by that stage, it's kind of, now you're a retired old racist man.
No, he doesn't. He's around for a fair bit after that. He's only been in his 50s or 60s at that stage.
Well then, fair play to him.
Yeah, he had a lot of gas in the tank.
He had a lot of hate left.
Oh, he did. But yeah, now he's in the mix all the way up until he dies of a heart attack in 2004, age 78. So...
Do we know what caused the heart attack?
What was happening in 2004?
The Euros.
Maybe. But...
How could Ronaldo get Rooney sent off like that? He works with them at Man United. They're meant to be friends.
A good British man.
Why can't you step on a lad's balls in the middle of a game? Game's gone.
Game's gone. Rooney's got the sort of round, red, rugged face of a good British man. That's the sort of face you could set your watch to. You can trust.
Actually, sir, his lineage comes from...
Is he Welsh?
Irish.
Is he?
Rooney.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Yeah. We tried to get him.
Yeah,
and he didn't want to play. Yeah, it was like he said he was like, if I wasn't been called up for England, I might go over. But then he got called up for England.
Yeah, a lot of lads have said that.
Was he playing Premier League football at 16? And the FAI were like, "What's that name you have there now?
Who's that now?
Is there any chance? And you're from Liverpool. It is. Is there any chance you hate England?
Yeah. That's the only pitch we ever have. Is like, now we can't, son. We can't offer you money. We can't offer you fame.
The Sun, you said.
Yeah. You can have your pick of anyone over 60, if that's your...
And it is.
And it is. And you'll never have to put your hand in your pocket for a pint again. That's all we can give you. No, you won't get out of the qualifying stages, but we'll have your back.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you make any mistake on the pitch, in which case you'll be dead to us. But anyway... back to the strand. The IRA, they in 1987, a good old boy called Jeremy Corbyn gives a petition to Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher to demand better visiting conditions for the Balcoom gang, and eventually get them to. Well, he wants them to be transferred back to Ireland. And in May 1998, they go over to Portlaoise for about a year, and then they get released under the Good Friday Agreement. Okay. So definitely, I'd say that was maybe...
The way you said that, it sounded like the end of every Troubles episode. Yeah, because every time it just like the story wraps up with... And then
they got out.
1990, every episode. And Oisin, The Troubles, great podcast. Very worth a listen. But then when you get to all of these stories end with in 1999 under the Good Friday Agreement...
They got out and ran for local politics / became an artist / started doing hate crimes. But they're out in 99, which to be fair probably didn't help Norris's heart attack 5 years later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe it might have got a little early one in there. But that's pretty much it. So that's a topical-ish story for the start of the Christmas season.
Would it be, okay, fair enough, it's illegal to go up to a man's house with a gun and shoot him, because we found out because people went to jail for that.
Yes.
Right.
Well, even necessarily, not purely for that, but that was also in there.
But would it be loophole?
Yes.
Is it illegal to go up to the house of a man who has a bad heart, whose brother's been shot?
Yes.
And every so often just knock on the door wearing a balaclava? Is that illegal?
Mr. McWhirter, I got balaclavas for sale. I don't. It's not. It's certainly not moral. Yeah.
Heart attack.
Yeah.
Natural causes.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if the IRA one last job they took out old McWhirter, but I've read they were. I've read a good few articles where people gloss over the hatred side of it. Then I've read some other articles where people really lean into the hateful side of it. Mostly the first ones are English articles, and the second tend to be Irish publications. Mm-hmm. But he shouldn't have been shot.
Yeah.
But
are we back on Kirk, or are we?
Yeah, I mean, like Norris goes on, like the organization is very anti-gay rights, anti-apartheid, anti-immigration, all that sort of stuff. But maybe he would have softened up a little bit if his brother hadn't been shot point blank. Maybe they would have.
Yeah, but if his brother hadn't come out and put 50 grand on the heads of...
Yeah. He thought it was Texas.
Yeah. I'd agree with you. I also think that people shouldn't be shot. I want that on the record. Put that down there right now.
Yeah.
I'll have what you're having.
Yeah.
But, that definitely... If you put 50 grand on the head of basically, then that they're going to come after you. Or surely you would think that. Not to say that it's okay with what they did, but surely you get security. Or maybe you think, I don't need security because I'm an MI5 operative.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to within a couple of... Do you say it was 3 days afterwards or 3 weeks? What was it?
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks?
Within the same month.
That you're still answering your own door.
Yes.
I find that wild.
Yeah. I think they were more...
Anyone who answers their own door deserves to be shot.
Yeah.
That's what I want to pull back a little bit on what I've said already, but I'll double down on this.
I guess it's the same, but we had that a few times in the story where they were like, they wanted to take stuff into their own hands, I guess, and beyond, because the two of them run for office, but they don't get elected. But they don't let that stop them because they are good old British boys whose dad runs the Sunday Mirror. So they like putting bounties on people's heads and like calling for... It's a weird... I don't know. They're getting themselves... They want to be involved.
It's a lot of publicity
they haven't,
that they're looking for.
I think they really... All of the people that they really strongly they have a strong vision for Britain. They want to mold Britain in the way that they want. And they're not slowed down by the fact that they haven't been elected by the public. They are taking matters into their own hands.
That just means that this conspiracy goes all the way to the bottom. If the public don't even realise what's going on.
Yeah, maybe. But funny that these are the men behind. They kind of trail off the Guinness Book of Records, but they were like editing it for years. And then they kind of... Norris would put out his own stuff. He gets full time with the Freedom Association stuff. But I never heard...
It's a very different book of statistics at the end of every year.
But... I never heard, and maybe you, listener at home, can send us a message. Was like, I wonder whether there must have been Irish parents who wouldn't let the Guinness Book of Records into their house because of this. Like, that would have happened in a lot of people's lifetimes.
Yeah, there has to be. And it's the same for like, I don't think I'm the only person who has heard tell of a story of someone's parents like making them tip X out the Union Jack on a Reebok. Like Reebok Classics or anything like that, where there's what's the waterproof weather brand, but that there's like a Union Jack in it. There's like bits and pieces like that over the years that if you go like, if it's a Union Jack. I used to think it was weird back a couple of years ago. I was a kid in a Carlow, but I saw the English jersey on sale in like Sports Direct. You're like, who is that for?
It was a trap, probably.
Yeah, it has to be.
There's some representatives from O'Neill's there.
Yeah.
But that's the start of our Christmas season.
That's the beginning of
That's the beginning of Festivus. This is a story you can tell around Christmas tables as someone pulls out the Guinness Book of Records this year. Guinness Book 2025.
Because that hasn't happened now in so long. I don't know when the last time like we had the Guinness Book of Records. I don't know what year it was where it just stopped.
Yeah, it's not as much in the cultural consciousness, I think, now. It was like a kind of meme for years when we were kids.
Yeah.
To be like, I remember getting involved in a chain letter to make into the records. Were you ever part of that?
No.
It was I don't know what the hell the point of it was, but you get posted a letter and then you had to post it to like 15 other people. And then it was going to be like the
Oh,
world's...
and it was the biggest waste of time the world ever seen.
Yeah, it was the biggest... But then all the names would be listed in the record for the biggest...
biggest losers.
Biggest men, people with most friends. Because if you're part of a chain letter chain, in a way, you're friends with the entire world. So... I don't know what the point. Like nowadays, it'd be like, oh, there's a money element to it. But that was. Do you remember that was a much bigger thing?
Do you know what it is? There's too much paper and time in the world.
Yeah,
I think we need to.
But that was a much bigger thing in the 90s and 2000s. Like when phones first came on the go,
there'd
just
be
like
texts, the
texts,
chain texts,
that just meant nothing. Like now it's all a scam. Like if someone was like, oh, send this to 15 of your friends and give me their blood type and postcodes. Then it was just like...
It was just about wasting credit.
It was a complete waste of time. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah,
it was just
phone companies. And like, send this to 12 of your friends by midnight. It was just...
It stopped the second unlimited texts and calls came through.
I think it probably died at that by then. Before, I wonder, surely there's people who still do that. Let's get a fucking chain text going. Let's text everyone we know now and see how far we can get.
McWhirter was a tout.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Anyway, Merry Christmas. We've got a nice episode next week about football.
Yes, with Ken Early of Second Captain's fame.
Yes.
We talk about football and a couple of other bits. And not when we do talk about football special.
Yes.
In the ads, because it's going to be sponsored by Football Special.
Yes.
I think we get them to, if we did an episode, surely there was one Irish guy on the ceasefire football game.
What was the ceasefire? Oh, in World War I. Yeah. I don't know how true that story is.
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, it happened in some facet.
It's a one where people... it's a great story that people are able to tell to people.
Yeah.
About like, this is why it doesn't matter what differences you have.
Yeah,
as long as you
both celebrate the birth of Christ, as you're saying.
As long as you're both into association football, you can get over whatever atrocities you've both done.
Yeah, that's fair. Happy Christmas. Goodbye.
Shafter.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with Head Stuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.